would you be without me, Prime? Time to find out.
Seeing Optimus Prime and Megatron go at it is always nothing but gas. Even in the worst Transformers movies, it is just sheer hype.
You'll never stop at one. I'll take you all on!
But the movies have only ever touched upon their deeper relationship.
We were brothers once.
Fans have been crying out for a movie without any human characters since the very first Bay movie in 2007, and I have to admit, I was never sure if that was going to work. The human characters were part of the fun, especially Sam Witwicky.
That's weird, I just wouldn't peg you for mechanical.
Well, you know, I don't...
Now how about I park my foot in your ass? What size shoe do you wear?
I just put in that light there, in that disco ball, so the light reflects off the disco ball.
But now with Transformers 1, that dream is fully realised. An animated Cybertronian narrative set long before either the Autobots or Decepticons end up on Earth, telling us the complicated origins of Orion Pax aka Optimus Prime and D-16 aka Megatron.
Decepticons! Rise up! Burn it down! All of it!
I kept getting comments from you guys telling me to make a video on this, but unfortunately it wasn't out in the UK until about a week ago, and in the time since it came out in most countries to the UK theatrical release, I kept seeing the same comparison over and over again. It's like X-Men First Class! It's like X-Men First Class! And I kept thinking, no effing way. The movie with that super lame first trailer?
Badassatron.
Well, I've been at the mercy of terrible trailers before.
Never again.
God damn, this movie actually does evoke X-Men First Class? And some favourable comparisons to The Matrix? What the actual hell is going on? This is a first-class Transformers movie, one that channels the epic frenemy relationship of Xavier and Magneto, with great action and a great story to boot. I am shocked that it is as good as this. It had no business being this good, and wow, I think we might have just found ourselves a contender for the best Transformers movie ever.
I don't think it's a truck at all. I think we just found a Transformer.
Were you satisfied with the origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron in Transformers 1? Let me know in the comments below, and what kind of Transformers movie you'd like to see next, either in live action or animation. Oh, and drop your ranking for all the movies. I'll put mine in the comments too. Full spoilers from here on out.
I want to help build a better world. Like you said, we can be so much more.
The heart of this movie is Chris Hemsworth's Orion Pax and Brian Tyree Henry's D-16. They're two lowly miners who work in incredibly dangerous conditions, all in the name of restoring Cybertron to its former height. Orion dreams of more. Being noticed by the higher class Transformers, he is eager to prove themselves worthy in spite of their apparent shortcomings.
Why'd you bring jetpacks?
Through some funny hijinks, the pair end up on an adventure that reveals the truth of Cybertron, the outcome of the old war against the Quintessence, and the hidden nature of Sentinel Prime.
What you must realize, my Autobot brothers, is we were never going to win the war.
There's actually some pretty well realised class commentary here, and the reveals are actually surprising and really matter. It turns out that the Cybertronians never really won the war. Sentinel Prime made a deal with the Quintessence, killed all of the other Primes, and has made the working class of Cybertron mine for Energon ever since. The miners have been working only for their native power source to be given away. Sentinel Prime is their puppet, and he cripples the masses so that he can enjoy a life with power.
Ignorance is bliss.
Everything our heroes thought they knew about the world and their freedom was a lie. In reality, they are prisoners of the Quintessence, and so is everyone else, but they are the only ones who know it. The whole thing feels like a homage to The Matrix, but not in a member berries way for the audience to whoop and holler. It's like the machines and humans swapped. The robots are the ones subjugated, and the biological faction are the ones that dominate the planet. You've also got an impeccably cast Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion, basically the hero's Morpheus on their quest, revealing the truth and bestowing them with their trademark abilities. I love the reveal that the miners have actually always been able to transform, and that it was actually Sentinel who cruelly took their cogs away as infants. Again, Super Matrix. These workers are more powerful than they think they know, able to take on the system and become forces of nature within the confines of their environment. It's surprisingly dark and makes Sentinel Prime all the more sinister, which leads us to D-16. In a key moment, Orion Pax asks D-16 if he wants to stop Sentinel, and D-16 replies, no, he wants to kill him.
Killing Shaw will not bring you peace. Peace was never an option.
Over the course of the story, he actualizes with anger and vengeance, but just like Eric in X-Men First Class, we understand why he feels the way he does. Sentinel Prime and Sebastian Shaw are both the worst of the worst, and inflicted great pain on D-16 and Magneto. Their friends plead with them to find a better path, to avoid becoming the aggressors like their tormentors, and even though we might agree with Xavier and Orion, it's not hard to see why their future nemeses find it so tough to see it any other way. I was shocked at how well done Megatron's turn is in this movie. The trailers made it seem like it was going to be very juvenile, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of jokes and banter aimed at kids. This is still a kids movie after all, but it skirts that Pixar line where there's something deeper under the surface so that adults can also get something out of it. It's legitimately heartbreaking to see Megatron go down this path to fulfill his dark destiny, but it doesn't feel rushed or out of place. It's a rather beautiful arc. In the previous movies, the Decepticons are pretty much treated as mustache-twirling villains, with a little bit of dimensionality in the idea that they just want to ensure the survival of their race. But here, they're introduced into the story as the Cybertronian High Guard, a group of protectors who also know of Sentinel Prime's betrayal. The Decepticons here are the Rebel Alliance, the good guys, the ones trying to liberate Cybertron. But much like Megatron, they want to avenge its name in blood and aggression. You get an absolutely sweet fight between D-16 and Starscream, an impeccable performance from a perfectly cast Steve Buscemi, where we see how the Decepticon leader would prove himself worthy to be the head of their faction. In general, all the fight scenes were shockingly good, the animation of these machines was on point, and the combat was frenetic and satisfying. I loved seeing them bloodsport weapons out of everywhere, like double flamethrowers, huge cannons, swords. I can't wait to boot up the final Optimus vs Megatron fight when the film comes to digital. The film all comes to a crescendo as the heroes take on Sentinel Prime, leading to another awesome and surprisingly dark moment where Sentinel actually brands D-16 with the Decepticon emblem. It draws favourable comparisons to the beat where Eric drives the coin through Shaw's head. It's a moment neither character can go back from. And then of course there's the biggest first class moment when D-16 gravely wounds Orion trying to kill Sentinel. He never meant for his friends to get caught in the crossfire, but it is the inevitable result of their differing viewpoints clashing as they both seek to do what is right. D-16 has a moment where he can save Orion, but instead chooses to let him go to his death. Ironically, it is doing this that allows him to be resuscitated. Even though he did not mean to, the machine that would be Megatron saved Orion one last time. As both Cybertronians are reincarnated into their final forms, the movie intercuts between them and culminates in the incredibly satisfying final beat. Megatron is born, and so is Optimus Prime. Cybertron will never be the same.
I prefer Megatron.
The movie was awesome and gave us the most three-dimensional and interesting versions of Optimus Prime and Megatron ever in cinema. Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry fully embodied these characters, and the only negative here is that we may never get to see a follow-up to continue the story. Transformers used to be $1 billion franchise, but in the past 7 years it's just been disappointment after disappointment, even if the reviews have occasionally been very strong. It's a particular shame with this one because I think Transformers could really find a new life here in animated theatrical form, but if we never get Transformers 2, at least we got this. A perfect little prequel with great characters, bold action, and the satisfying origin of the two most iconic Transformers.
Now is the time for us to stand up together.
If you want more of my thoughts on Transformers 1, as well as all the recent episodes of The Penguin, then please check out the Full Fat Podcast on my Patreon. If you like these videos and you're one of the people that keep telling me they never get notified of my new videos, then please consider subscribing with the notification bell ticked on. It would help me out a lot, and I would love for you guys to actually get told when I put a new video out. I don't know why YouTube doesn't seem to bother. A big thank you to my full fat tier patrons, Dr. Chike, Nathan Shaw, Mike Nandu, and Neil Verma. I'm so chuffed you guys are supporting the channel like this, and your contributions are hugely helpful to keeping the channel shipshape. You absolutely rock, and I can't thank you enough.